One day closer to Friday, so doing good.
Awesome. Love that. So welcome to our Buenos Dias Networking Breakfast virtually. We are super excited to bring you our next Buenos Dias, none other than with our friends with the Phoenix Suns. They have a great presentation. They'll talk all about how to adapt in the changing marketplace now that everything's gone virtual and we're still dealing with the current pandemic. So they'll be able to talk all about that. Just really brief housekeeping rules before we go ahead and get started. Just make sure to mute your mics. That's as a courtesy for our speakers today and for the rest of the attendees as well. And then any questions that you may have, please include them in the chat. We'll be answering them towards the end, so make sure to use that chat feature. And also make sure to include your contact information. We find that this is a nice little way to network nowadays, now that everything's gone virtual. So we encourage you all to drop your information in the chat box. And with that, I'd like to now introduce Brooke Campbell. She is the Vice President of Brand Marketing with the Phoenix Suns. So thank you, Brooke, and thank you for your partnership with the Arizona Hispanic Chamber. So appreciate that. And also Chelsea and Matt will also be speaking there with the Phoenix Suns, but I'll let Brooke go ahead and introduce them. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And good morning, everyone. Welcome and thank you for joining us today. Thank you to the Arizona Hispanic Chamber of Commerce for helping set up this webinar today and the great partnership that we have had over the past couple of years, and really appreciate your support. As Elizabeth mentioned, my name is Brooke Campbell. I'm the Vice President of Marketing and Brand Strategy for the Phoenix Suns. In my role, I work very closely with all my brand counterparts to really drive brand strategy, fan engagement initiatives, our retail operations, and really our revenue support services for all of our brands, the Suns, the Mercury, NAZ Suns, the Rattlers, and all of our arena events that come in to the Phoenix market. So before we get started, I'd like to turn it over to my teammates and have them introduce themselves as well.
Hi, buenos dias. Good morning, everyone. My name is Chelsea Chaidez. I work within brand marketing here at the Phoenix Suns, and I do a lot of multicultural marketing, grassroots marketing, as well as media trafficking within our department. So we go by seasons here, and I'm going into my second season and happy to be here. Matt?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Matt Slata. I'm Director of Business Development and Premium Sales here with the Phoenix Suns and Mercury. I oversee our 3 new business development teams. We focus on the retention and relationship piece with our club members, as well as our suite holders. And then we're actively out there in the market, building relationships with businesses and fans of the Suns to welcome them on board to our family here. So excited to spend some time with everyone this morning. Thanks for having us.
Great, thanks guys. So as we all know, it's Hispanic Heritage Month. And among other things, we've been highlighting Hispanic small businesses. We actually have a really cool t-shirt contest right now where we're asking people to submit designs, and the hope is that one of those designs we picked and actually part of our Los Suns retail collection going into the next season. But we're really here today to focus on one of our efforts to help uplift Hispanic small businesses affected by COVID and the current environment in which we are living. So we really hope this information that we're going to share today with you is helpful and provide you with actionable insights. So before I turn it over to Chelsea to really get started and dive in, I'll briefly kind of walk you through what we would like to cover with you today. Chelsea is going to go over some great research and consumer trends and how the insights can really be applied to various businesses. The main focus that we want to share today is really 3 business tips from these consumer trends that we found, and how we can help pivot during COVID to help your business continue to be successful. With each of these tips, we have some examples from the industry research, as well as how we at the Phoenix Suns have really taken these tips and adapted our business. Matt will then end our presentation with some information about how, in the future, you may be able to maximize a Suns membership and what the benefits of being part of our family could do for your business and help drive your business to be successful as we move forward into whatever this new normal may become. So with that said, Chelsea, I'll let you take it from here.
Awesome, let's get started. So this is us, in case you were wondering what our faces look like if you haven't already seen us on the call. So good to meet everybody. So how COVID has changed the world. All around us, we see the impact that COVID-19 has had in different aspects of our lives. And we've seen this with the rise of unemployment, or for many people, the living room has now become the new office. And we're seeing some trends come out of this. So remote working has led to on-the-go consumption practically disappearing. So products like coffee or chips or bottled water bought from convenience stores have been largely affected. And likewise, remote learning has had its own effects, increasing the demand for remote learning services. Zoom has been one of the platforms that has really benefited from this sudden change. They actually saw 20 times the increase in daily participants since the beginning of the stay-at-home orders. Health and well-being has also become top of mind for consumers, as there's now greater focus on health and hygiene. Because of this, we've seen an increase in the production of organic produce. In fact, the industry saw 10 times the growth in just March alone. And in addition, during the lockdown, many consumers were forced to cancel medical appointments, which forced them to look for telehealth options and familiarize themselves with e-doctors and e-pharmacies. The travel industry, which we all know was greatly impacted by the lockdown, forced a trend of domestic travel, but it also affected overall spend in categories like travel retail and overall spend. Another industry that was impacted was the entertainment industry, which hit home for us personally. So sports arenas closed, movie theaters closed, concerts shut down, and this led customers to flood streaming services like Netflix and Disney Plus. And because of this forced behavior, companies like Disney were able to capitalize on this and achieve what took Netflix 7 years. So in 7 years, Netflix achieved 50 million subscribers, and it only took Disney Plus 5 months. And we also saw changes in overall shopping behavior. So we have new data from IBM that has shown that the pandemic has actually accelerated consumer shift towards e-commerce by 5 years. And in terms of general shopping behavior, we also see trends of consumers preferring brands that they're familiar with, that they trust. And we've also seen an overall reduction in trips to shop, which means that people are buying in bulk or in larger baskets. And we don't know for sure which of these behaviors are going to be temporary and which are going to be enduring changes to the marketplace. So this is some research done by McKinsey & Company, a consulting firm that did a lot of research during COVID and is continuing to do more research. But they believe that whether a behavior sticks is determined by this formula right here. So stickiness is equal to forced behavior, including duration, times satisfaction. Or in other words, whether a behavior will stick depends on how long people are doing that forced behavior times how satisfied they are with it. So this chart shows us some of the behaviors that they theorize could be temporary. For example, a reduction in on-the-go consumption. So as people go back to work, that industry will go back to normal. Or shopping in a larger basket, or a preference for digital entertainment. They do expect other behaviors to stick. These behaviors being health and hygiene, e-commerce, remote working, and fitness on demand. And another enduring change is going to be a reduction in discretionary spend. And we know this because personal disposable income is not expected to recover until 2024. So we know that there's going to be a continued sensitivity with price. So what does all this mean for your small business? Well, we know that these behavior changes that are forced on consumers now are going to reshape that consumer journey. And we know that companies will have to adapt fast to that. So businesses will have to rethink what that consumer journey is like within the walls of their own business, while keeping in mind, most importantly, that e-commerce is here to stay and is the future. So are those new behaviors that people are experiencing appealing and satisfactory? Are they more satisfying than the behaviors that they replace? So the answer to these questions will have a significant effect on whether new behaviors will stick and whether your business will be able to adapt to the changes that COVID has had on the marketplace. So what we're going to show you next is a series of tips as we transition into this post-COVID world that we as an organization have implemented ourselves during the pandemic, in addition to how you can apply these tips to your small business. So tip number one, as obvious as it may seem, is to take your business online if you haven't already done so. But it's not as simple as just creating a Facebook page, a YouTube account, or just putting a website online. It's about ensuring that you're monetizing these pages, as well as creating an experience that's truly zero friction and satisfactory for your customer. So think about your business in the grand scheme of things. If you're a restaurant, are you offering online ordering? If you're offering online ordering, does that experience truly satisfy the customer's need of that in-store experience? What if you're a barbershop or a beauty salon? Have you taken the measures to allow your customers to book an appointment online? The reason why this is so important is because we're transitioning into this world where convenience largely affects a consumer's purchasing decisions. So it's really important for businesses to reimagine what that online shopping experience is like, as if the customer was walking through your front doors. And there's obvious benefits to going digital. So think about customer satisfaction and accuracy. Gone are the days where you have to repeat that on the phone because somebody cut off. Some customers now have the ability to tell you exactly what they want with a click of a button. Going online also saves time for customers so that they no longer have to wait on hold for your customer service rep to finish helping that person in front of them. And we also see an increase in average checks when it comes to the restaurant industry. So when customers can browse the menu without feeling rushed because of the line in back of them, they tend to purchase more. And research has even found that on average, it's up to 26% larger. The orders are up to 26% larger when placed online. Creating your presence online also creates a new revenue stream for your business, reaching customers that you otherwise would not have served. So for example, you can serve customers living in Buckeye when your business is in Queen Creek. And thus it allows you to be open 24 hours a week and 7 days a week. So I'm going to kick it off to Matt, who's going to talk a little bit about how we've transitioned to going digital with the Transformation Center. Matt, am I good to play this video?
Yeah, go ahead. So this is just to kind of tee up this video. This is our fly through, which will show you all the major changes that are coming to the building over the next 2 summers here. So obviously with COVID hitting, we're actually able to expedite some of the projects. So even more than what we thought was going to be ready to go by the time we tip off this upcoming season. But this will kind of walk you through the entire building, and then we'll jump in how we pivoted and made some changes to our sales efforts. Awesome. Well, sorry about the choppiness there. If you want to catch that video again, you can head to project201.com and watch it at your own convenience. And it has some explanations on some of the major changes coming. But for us on the sales side, and our normal approach and bread and butter is really getting face-to-face with our current clients, with our prospects, with our partners. And obviously when everything was kind of turned upside down in mid-March there, we really had to change our focus and, really how we were going to go out and continue to build those relationships. So fortunately for us, we were already starting to look into different avenues on how we could host more virtual meetings even before COVID hit in March. So this was an application through a company called Channel One, where it's really an online selling application that allows us to show everything, all the changes that are coming to the building without actually taking folks into the building just yet. So being able to conceptually sell something, this app has paid major dividends. It's also highlighted in our transformation center, which is really an immersive experience where you can come down, test everything from the fixtures, the furnitures, and everything that's going to be in our new club spaces. So from here, that pivot has resulted in us booking over 1,000 virtual appointments with our current members to walk them through their renewals, but also with our prospects that are looking into joining our Phoenix Suns family. So that's double the amount of appointments that we were able to book in person from March until today. So obviously a lot of folks are more comfortable and still interested in looking into options, but how we approach that was really this application, Zoom meetings similar to what we're doing now and walking everyone through this application. So this allows us to show views of seats, pricing breakdowns, features, amenities of all the new spaces that we have. So this is what our current pavilion looks like. And if you slide over with that arrow, you can kind of see what it's going to look like. So it really allows us and helps us to paint that picture without actually getting people into the building before construction is complete. So as you jump in here, it's broken down by product. So if we have folks that are interested in sitting in our courtside seats, we can jump into our courtside club, again, show pricing, views, amenities, features. If Chelsea, if you hit on the gallery there, you can actually show some of the renderings of what this will look like. So if you hit that arrow there, it'll show you this is our brand new club. So we used to have one of these available underneath the stands, and something about going downstairs and underneath, everyone wants to be a part of that and everyone loves that. So we'll actually feature 2 brand new clubs that are now underneath the stands moving forward. So we'll have 3 total once the building is complete here. So convenience in terms of being able to walk down, come in, grab your food, drink, hit the restroom, and then head back to your seats without ever having to touch the main concourse. So some major upgrades coming to those, but this has allowed our team members to continue to engage with folks, both on our member side as well as our prospect side, walk them through the sales process. We've been able to generate over $1.6 million just through virtual appointments and utilizing this platform that you guys are seeing right now. So it's been great. We've had to train and change our tactics about how we go about utilizing this, and just had a refresher training last night with our entire sales floor. But this has been a huge critical piece and helped us pivot. Now we're starting to get folks that are a little bit more comfortable with the situation and are starting to come down and see us at our transformation center more and more frequently. But moving forward, this is going to be a huge piece of our sales offense. Just continues to help us get face time and show off the beautiful new building that we're going to have before it's completed. The next big thing is, we love to see our members and our clients face to face. That's how we build meaningful relationships. And 4 years ago, we really took a page out of some of the other teams throughout the industry, and we wanted to have something that was more than just tickets. No longer is it just a season ticket package. We have a season ticket membership, and this is a year-round experience. So providing value outside of just games was huge and critical for our retention, as well as creating that value for our businesses and families that are partners with us. So a big part of that is, having events, seeing them face to face. So obviously in the pandemic, it was hard to do that. So we actually launched a virtual event series that has done really well, and we've gotten rave reviews from both our clients and members here. So the first one that we actually launched was also giving the ability to continue to put our partners out there, our corporate partners, continue to spread their brand and showcase and provide them value to their partnership with us. So the one right in the middle, our Four Peaks Brewing Company, is our craft beer partner. And we actually offered a virtual brewing experience where you got a tour of their facility. Their head brewmaster walked you through all the different rooms and talked about how they actually go about brewing their beer. On the front end of this event, we actually sent everyone that RSVP'd that was going to be in attendance a 6-pack of beers from Four Peaks that was delivered to their home so that they can enjoy a tasting while they were actually going through the event. So the brewmaster would say, hey, this is the beer that's located here, and they would be able to taste it live in real time as they were finding out more about how they go about brewing it and how they distribute it throughout the valley here. The next one was we really wanted to showcase our brand new executive chef. Chef Michael DiMaggi joined us about 7-8 months back, and he's really going to come in and heighten our culinary experience here in the arena. So what better way to showcase those new offerings than to have the man behind the menu really kind of walk people through a virtual cooking class. Again, on the front end, we found so much value in delivering that gift ahead of time that chef actually prepared a gift basket of all the ingredients of what he was teaching how to make during that event. So this event was on August 6th, 2 days before we played the Miami Heat down in the bubble in Orlando there. So he wanted to showcase how he's going to differentiate the menu throughout the year based on the opponents coming into the arena. So during that event, he taught everyone how to make Cuban sandwiches, key lime pies, and homemade mojitos. So the food was great. I had the chance to make the Cuban with my wife while we were tuned into the event. It turned out awesome. We had a great dinner with a Cuban and a mojito, and a lot of our members and clients that were on that actually remade that recipe that Saturday as they were hosting friends and family to watch that game. So really cool tie into what's going to come in the future. The one on the right side of the screen here was our coffee and construction event. So we partnered with Alvin Adams, who's a former #1 pick of the Suns, Ring of Honor member, and our VP of facilities. We partnered him with Matt Richards, who's the project manager for Oakland Construction, and they hosted a morning coffee. Again, that gift was dropped off to their home before that event happened, where we have our Project 201 mugs with some local gift cards from local coffee stations and houses around the valley. So how do we continue to support small business, but also continue to tell the story of all the great changes coming to our arena? So Matt and Alvin hosted a morning coffee, and we're showing all the major progress with videos from inside the live construction site, giving it an update on the progress. And again, we targeted specific industries there. So we're reaching out to construction companies, mechanical engineers, and all the folks that are helping to build this building and make those changes. So we got rave reviews on all of these. It's probably something that we'll look to continue to do. Most recently, we just hosted an online virtual basketball camp for some of our members and their children, where our head of youth basketball actually walked them through different drills to stay active during this time and kind of continue to work on their basketball skills. So these have been huge for us, and it helps with that relationship building piece, which is so important on the sales side. So between the virtual selling app as well as the virtual events, we've really made some big waves and continue to push our business forward.
So as Matt mentioned, obviously we're in live entertainment, right? And we would prefer to be in front of our fans and engaging with them in the arena in person. But when the world shut down and the NBA found a way to continue playing, that was amazing. However, we weren't hosting the games, meaning we weren't driving revenue through our ticket sales. Partnership revenue was at risk because we had promises to our partners for certain exposure. And we were very disconnected from not only our team, it was in Orlando, but our fans, right? Because everybody was at home. So, to find other ways to really take our business online with the goal of driving and retaining revenue, fan engagement, increasing our retail sales and lead generation, we needed to develop a way to connect virtually. So during the NBA bubble in Orlando, we hosted 5-second screen virtual fan parties delivered by Cold Beers and Cheeseburgers. That is a mouthful. But the first of their kind, really online events featured special guests. We had the commissioner of the NBA, Adam Silver. We had the NFL and Cardinal great Larry Fitzgerald. We had Suns alumni players, Rex Chapman, Sean Marion. We actually had a few local artists come in and play a few sets during intermission. We have prizes and more really in an intimate online setting via the Blue Jeans by Verizon video conferencing platform. So the events provided a fully complimentary entertainment experience for our fans watching games. We didn't necessarily want to draw away from Fox Sports Arizona, where our games are broadcast, because we really needed to also increase our ratings and our viewership. So we wanted to provide a complimentary way where we could really interact with our fans. So the events were hosted by our Sun sideline reporter, Lindsay Smith, and Arizona Sports 98.7 color analyst, John Bloom. So again, these events gave us an opportunity to have fans RSVP, so data capture. We were able to tie it to a partner, Cold Beer, so retain some revenue. And we were able to have fans interact with one another, interact with our celebrities and our guests, and really increase our overall engagement. A big part of the second screen experience, it was nothing we'd ever done before. And as Chelsea mentioned earlier in her presentation, adaptation. I am not afraid to say that the first one we did was definitely not our best. But with each, we took the learnings, and we were having games every other day. So it was an immediate reaction to try and make it better for the next time. So we ran surveys, we got customer feedback, and made changes on the fly. And I will say by our final experience, it was amazing. It was definitely a great experience for our fans. We were able to, again, retain revenue. The data that we captured actually turned into sales for us. So again, ticket revenue that we would not have otherwise been able to capture during this time. So again, it's taking your business online, it's adapting, and really providing those opportunities to be able to engage, not in person, but as close to in person as we could during this time.
All right, so moving into tip number 2, which is to make consumers feel safe. So one of the enduring changes, as previously mentioned, is a heightened concern over health and safety. So this survey taken from McKinsey Research Company determined that when consumers are deciding where to shop, they look for retailers with visible safety measures, such as cleaning and physical barriers. And they buy more from companies and brands that have healthy and hygienic packaging. So this chart shows some survey data on the top priorities for consumers when shopping in stores. And 34% of consumers stated that their number one priority for shopping in a store is that stores are enforcing masks and barriers. And data has also found that 70% of consumers plan to wear masks through the rest of the year. Consumers were also concerned over the cleaning and sanitation of the store, no contact purchasing, physical distancing, health checks, and store regulations. So when it goes back to your small business, what are you doing to help make people feel safe when they walk through your doors? Do you have visible signage that conveys your efforts? Even if you're an online business, how are you making sure that people feel safe when receiving, let's say, your packages? So since we know that there's this concern over health and safety, I want to show you guys a good example of Cold Beers and Cheeseburgers, who did an on-air segment with Fox 10 to highlight how they've taken measures to ensure that the public feels safe when they walk through their doors.
If you are a first responder or a healthcare worker, you are in luck today because you get a free meal. You're going to get hooked up here at CV Squared. We like to call it Cold Beers and Cheeseburgers. Tom Fergus, a great place to watch a game and grab a cold one.
Yeah, Celeste, I love going to one. There's one down at Dobson and Germain I go to a lot. It's a lot of fun. And, a lot of people that are fans of Cold Beer and Cheeseburgers, well, now that they're open, they're wondering what's it like to go inside the restaurant. And I'm with Danielle Dresser, the pride of Idaho. Danielle, if someone decides to come in here, you know, some of the public are still a little bit nervous about going into restaurants. What have you guys been doing to ease their fears?
Well, first of all, I think everybody would be happy to know how many safety precautions we're taking here at Cold Beers and Cheeseburgers, so everybody does feel comfortable. So the first thing they will see when they walk in are not only all of our staff are in these great masks, but anybody who's going to be serving you food is going to be with masks and in gloves. Not only that, though, you're going to see all these social distancing tables right here to make sure that we are taking the precautions that are necessary.
Yeah, I'm from Chicago, and usually bar stools are shoulder to shoulder, and we got pretty big shoulders.
Yeah, it's
so
true.
You're doing something different.
We are. You know what? No longer are you going to be bumping elbows with your neighbor, but we do have these completely spread out so that everyone has that safe social distancing, and they're able to enjoy their food or their drink without rubbing elbows with everybody.
I always go back to one time I was on a Phoenix Suns charter, and Joe Prosky was the trainer, and I said, Joe, where should I sit? He said, spread out. Everybody's got 9 seats. And that's kind of what they're doing here. You're doing such a special thing for first responders and frontliners. Tell everybody about it. It's on Tuesdays throughout May.
Absolutely, yes. You know, we saw a need here in the community for Cold Beers Cares. We saw all our frontline workers, our healthcare workers that really needed a break. And they've been working all hours.
We've got some Scottsdale firemen out here.
We do, that's
police
great,
officers
yes.
as well. So what are you doing for it?
Yeah, absolutely. Month of May, every Tuesday from 1 to 3 p.m. at all of our 12 Valley-wide locations, you are going to get a free lunch. If you are a medical worker or a first responder, just come on down and you can pick up 2 cheeseburger sliders and some chips. We are providing it for everybody who's in need and everybody who has been really doing what they can to help and support our community and keep us safe.
That's so cool. Now, you guys, not only are you doing this lunch for first responders and frontliners, you've been giving away lunches as well with the help of some of your sponsors, haven't you? Where have you been going?
Absolutely. Well, Cold Beers and Cheeseburgers has always helped the community, always been a part of philanthropy. But we saw this need in adversity for COVID-19, and we partnered with a lot of our partners and with local relationships that we have to provide free lunches. So we partnered with the Arizona Coyotes to provide over 300 lunches to them up at Mayo Clinic. We've also gone around the valley to Banner Health, different fire departments, different police stations, and just making sure that, hey, we're giving you a little bit of comfort, a little bit of something that'll make you happy, some free lunch, some free sandwiches, and it's just a part of the Cold Beers Cares program that we're doing.
Oh, that's great. Thanks so much for doing that, you guys. Yeah, so if you're a first responder or a frontline healthcare worker and you want free lunch today or any Tuesday throughout May, swing by Cold Beer and Cheeseburgers, 12 locations, and look at that cheeseburger. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh, unscrew my head and pour it in with top.
So a really good example of them really demonstrating, you know, the safety measures that they've taken to make people feel safe when they walk through their doors. And it also had a community tie on there, which we'll touch on in the next tip. But again, to recap, when it comes to your small business, make sure that your customers can walk in and feel safe within the walls of your establishment, not only by taking those measures, but by clearly communicating those efforts to your customer. So make an effort to display visible signage that shows the changes that you've made to create that safe environment. And also make sure that you're communicating it outside of your business via whatever communication platforms that you have, whether it's email, social, or web. If you aren't online yet, it's a matter of training your personnel and educating them on what to say, maybe having a certain verbiage so that every consumer feels safe with every interaction.
Yeah, so I'll kind of talk through some of the measures that we took here internally, both at our offices as well as our transformation center. So to Chelsea's point, this was the utmost important for us to make sure that our clients, our members, our team members were safe as we started to conduct more face-to-face meetings. So this will be a quick little video that was included in all of our confirmation emails, and then I'll talk through some of the other measures that we took and put in place.
Thank you for scheduling your Transformation Center appointment. You'll be among the first to experience the exciting transformation and get an in-depth account of a reimagined arena. With health and safety in mind, we've implemented several hygiene protocols and sanitation procedures for your visit. Everyone in the Transformation Center is required to wear a face mask. For those that need it, we will provide face masks, hand sanitizer, and disinfecting wipes. Maintaining physical distancing throughout your visit and limiting the number of guests in the facility. We are sanitizing and disinfecting all common and high-touch areas in between every appointment. Several hand sanitizing stations are available throughout the facility. We've implemented contactless payment options. These safety precautions are in line with the CDC guidelines in an effort to create a safe and welcoming environment for everyone at the Transformation Center. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Perfect. So as you can see in the video with Lindsay, this was, it literally hit the inbox of everyone that was booking appointments right when they booked that appointment. So the verbiage here on the right-hand side of the screen was included in that email, as well as that video from Lindsay. And then from there, as we continued to confirm appointments over the phone with everyone, we reiterated all of these measures that we were taking. So as they arrive at the Transformation Center, we ask all of our guests to call our front desk first before entering the building. This allows us to make sure that everyone is in place and everything is ready to go for that appointment. So they would give us a ring and we would let them know that it is now safe to enter the building. From there, they would actually go through one of the face scans that does the temperature check right at the entrance to the building. So if they were above that CDC guideline temperature, we would ask them to actually reschedule their meeting and not enter the building at that time. You saw that if someone did not have their own face covering, we would provide that for them, as well as a little goodie bag with some Purell and Lysol wipes. So they had everything that they needed to feel comfortable while going through their appointment. And then throughout the center, we've had, to Chelsea's point, signage everywhere. We have Purell, Lysol wipes in every single room of the Transformation Center. And we also have a cleaning crew that comes through each hour to wipe down the private rooms where we sit down with everyone that's looking into membership, go over pricing, seat location. We also, differentiate which private room we're using. We have 8 of those. So we never use the same one in the same hour to make sure that we could have deep cleaning before the next guest would actually use that room. So those are some of the measures that we put in place. More and more people are getting comfortable with that. We're still conducting a high level of appointments at our Transformation Center. And now we've been fortunate enough to have our partners at Oakland start to take us into the building for hard hat tours. So would definitely like to invite all of you guys to come down and see our Transformation Center, potentially jump in on a hard hat tour. So if you're interested in learning more about those options, feel free to reach out and I can get you set up with an appointment time. But very, very safe. The feedback that we've gotten from everyone that's come through has been rave reviews. They feel ultimately at ease coming down and seeing us with the precautions that we are taking.
All right, so tip number 3 is to communicate with empathy. So during the pandemic, a lot of brands have paused their advertising or communications due to budget restraints or just really not knowing how exactly to communicate with their consumers. But we know now that there's some data that tells us how consumers generally feel about brands and how they advertise during this time. So Twitter conducted a survey that asked a panel of people across the US how they felt about brands advertising during the pandemic. And 64% of people said brands should continue to advertise their products as normal. It's not a huge majority, but the poll also captured people's sentiment about brands advertising with their normal tone and voice. So the data showed that only 7% of respondents agreed with that. So what this tells us is that our customers want to hear from us, but they're more concerned about how we're speaking to them and what we are speaking to them about. So the reason why is because people feel vulnerable right now, and empathy is very critical. Many banks, for example, have moved to waive their overdraft fees, recognizing that a lot of customers are going through hardships, and then they're communicating those efforts to their consumers. This is important because during this time, feel-good content that alleviates anxiety and promotes positive messaging will go a long way in enhancing your brand. So this is really important that companies show their contributions, but that it's authentic and it doesn't come across as for commercial benefit. So to sum it up, during this time, do not go dark. Communicate reassuring and comforting communication in response to the pandemic. And if possible, show what your business is doing to help. So it could be as simple as offering 10% off to first responders, or even a thank you can go a long way, but get involved with your community. and continue to communicate how consumers can access your products while adjusting your tone for how you communicate this. And most importantly, avoid any communication that causes anxiety about the crisis without offering solutions for customers. So I want to show you guys a good example of DoorDash, who created this ad titled Open for Delivery. And I think it's a good example of how to adjust your tone and your messaging, but still push people to your products and services. So let me show you what that video looks like.
Restaurants have always been there for you. A place to celebrate, to take a first date, to grab a meal between soccer practice and piano. And even though tables are empty at the moment, the kitchens are full, prepping everything so it's just right, keeping customers safe, and making the food as delicious as ever. They're still there for you. Now you can be there for them. While the doors may be closed, the kitchens are open for delivery.
So again, really good example of adapting their tone to just accommodate the current climate of things, but at the same time, they're still encouraging people to, use their app and order online.
So don't sleep on basketball. So Chelsea, why don't you try and play it? We'll see if it can get through. Looks like we're having a little bit of technical difficulties.
The NBA suspends the season until further notice after a player tested positive for coronavirus.
This astounding and unprecedented story continues to evolve.
This is the last night of NBA games for the foreseeable future.
All of the NBA is suspended. Devin, I'm sorry, brother, but you just heard it from me.
Moments ago, I signed an executive order directing Arizonans to stay home.
All Arizona schools will remain closed.
Unemployment rate could soon spike.
The people should be able to choose what reopen.
Rally nurses stood in silence Monday during a rally to reopen Arizona.
Distance yourself from social settings and isolate.
It's kind of hard after 1 month, to don't hang out with people, to don't play basketball.
I'm starting to lose it a little bit.
Well, it was another night of protests following the death of George Floyd.
Tonight, cries of Black Lives Matter and hands up, don't shoot, echoing from coast to coast.
As much as we want to get back to playing basketball, there's still a number of issues in our social structure that need attention. It's a tough conversation to have, especially talking to my wife, who is a Black woman, knowing that there are other people out there that see her as less than human. I'm not taking it.
Hey guys, we are all suited up, ready to check out some player workouts at the Madhouse on McDowell.
As you can see, we have to space everybody 12 feet apart. Chairs have to be sanitized. Everybody gets their own couple of basketballs that are sanitized pre and post practice.
Everything that we're trying to do is to be over precautious.
So every guy that touches this, between everyone, we have to clean it.
Coming up to the gym now, gonna hit inside the Coliseum.
I'm happy we have somewhere to be. I was kind of nervous if we even had a gym or anything. What they did here is unbelievable.
It feels good to be back because I don't know what I'm walking into.
You get news that you're going to miss a lot of games for the first time in your career. Right when you get healthy again, the season's canceled. So it's just been a whirlwind of emotions for me.
The Board of Governors approved the league's 22-team restart proposal yesterday by a vote of 29-1.
Disney World, here we come. Let's go! Woo-hoo! Here we come, baby.
We back.
So I don't think anyone would argue the healing power of sports. We don't want to overstate it, but it can't be underestimated in times like these. 2020 is not only given us COVID-19, it took Kobe away from us. We've experienced more innocent lives murdered at the hands of bigotry, and yet there's a really powerful societal shift demanding change. So the increasing impact of what I just stated, and specifically the global pandemic has, as we've talked about, focused everyone to get more creative to not only keep fans, consumers engaged, but connected. And we recognized history as it was happening and really raised our cameras to begin capturing the world around us. So Don't Sleep on Basketball was developed to give a firsthand account of the twists and turns our world is facing, really through the lens of the Phoenix Suns and Mercury basketball, until there is some sort of sense of normalcy again, or even a new norm. So it was important for us to continue to communicate with our fans and showcase that the world is changing and how we have handled it. So we have decided to continue this storytelling right up until the first game when we play back in Talking Stick Resort Arena, hopefully with fans and hopefully very soon. But we supported this series of content through our Suns and Mercury social channels with a daily narrative, sometimes weekly. We have it on our brand's YouTube channel, Suns.com, the Suns app, and it's also a deeper look into each of the storylines is aired on Fox Sports Arizona every third week. So it was really important, you know, in what Chelsea was mentioning, for us to be able to continue to communicate with our fans. We don't have basketball that we're selling, you know, tickets right now for this season because the team is playing in Orlando, but really keeping that engagement open and really speaking about and understanding the world that is happening around us and how our players and our organization are dealing with it and adapting. We saw great success, over 15 million impressions across all of our channels. And we're really hoping that we can continue to tell our story and along with all of our fans as we do move forward.
The NBA.
This will kind of walk through some of the changes that we made in our sales approach. And we talked about communicating with empathy and, you know, the situation that everyone was going through on the individual basis or the business side. You know, you don't know how this affected everyone. So we're fortunate enough to have a budget to supplement our internal training with some external trainers. And we really reworked our call flow for all of our sales folks with our partner, Lance Tyson at the Tyson Group. He's one of the most well-respected B2B trainers in all of sports industry. And we worked very hard with him to develop this for our team members, where, you know, instead of kind of asking for the appointment early on, it's kind of assessing the situation and understanding what's happening on the other side of the phone. So we really found that there was kind of 5 scenarios that we were running into. We were the only team in the sports industry to continue to make outreach to our members and prospects throughout this entire time. So are they still normal? Business as usual? Let's continue to have conversations and get in some sort of virtual meeting or even the meetings down in TC. Is there a pause? Is there something going on? Are they starting to plan for the unknown? Are they in trouble, or is it a nuclear no? So those were the 5 that we continued to see, and our team members, depending on the response that they were getting from the folks on the other side of the line, they would go with this call flow. It really helped us. At this point, we're starting to see that we're starting to get back to normal a little bit. More folks are back in the office and businesses are starting to pick up in certain industries. So we're kind of reverting to our normal offense on the sales side of things, but this was a major change that we really ran for probably the first 3 months of the pandemic.
So we've talked about getting involved with the community. And what we did on our end was adjust our messaging of what we were communicating to our fans on our platforms. And we switched to a community focus and the efforts that we're making to provide COVID aid. One of the initiatives that we did was called Local Love. And we knew that businesses were being affected by COVID and decided to partner with a few local restaurants to supply meals for families in need. And we did this by joining efforts with nonprofits to communicate to its database that we were providing those free meals. And in total, we provided $100,000 in sales to restaurants across the valley and provided good content for our fans to view on our platforms. So it goes back to making sure that we're providing that positive and feel good content. So to sum it up, let's go over and recap the tips that we went over. So number 1, go digital. Adapt to the surge in e-commerce by taking your business digital and making sure that that process is streamlined and convenient for your customer. So just remember that ultimately this experience can ultimately replace the experience people have when walking through your doors. Number 2 is make consumers feel safe. Keep in mind the heightened concern over health and safety by communicating those efforts to maintain a hygienic environment in a visible way. By implementing signage, maybe it's training your personnel on the verbiage to use, or communicating those efforts via your website or social channels. Number 3 is to communicate with empathy and continue communicating with your consumer while only sharing comforting and empathetic information in response to the pandemic, and how to continue acquiring your products and services and get involved with your community. So now I'm going to hand it over to Matt, who's going to focus on looking forward to the future once we are past COVID.
Yeah, so as you guys can see, and hopefully you've been following along with the transformations that are currently happening to our arena moving forward, but these changes will make us the #1 entertainment destination in the Southwest. So we're really excited to enhance our building, continue to provide a business tool to our local businesses, and a great experience for all of our fans of the Phoenix Suns, Phoenix Mercury, concerts and shows, you name it. We're looking forward to having 150 plus events like we have in the past. We're a little bit lower these last 2 years with the changes happening, but excited to kind of ramp up that scheduling, provide something for everyone here in the Valley. So really wanted to talk through how businesses really maximize their Suns membership and how it continues to help them achieve their goals, find revenue, and make lasting relationships with their clients and their employees. So really when it comes down to it, it's 4 major areas on how they utilize their platform. The first is acquiring new business, hosting prospects at some of our games, our events, providing them the ability to have 3 to 4 hours of FaceTime to get to know them on the personal side, as well as, learn more about their business and how we can continue to partner together to push that business forward and make it happen. Next would be client entertainment and retention. I think the more you renew and the higher you renew all those folks that are on contracts, the less you have to go out and find on the new business side. So how do you take those partners and turn them into lifelong partners, getting that FaceTime, building that relationship, understanding how you continue to help their business move forward. The other piece is employees, especially now with a lot of folks that are going to be out there in the job market. This is going to be the most talented group of individuals that are looking for a new role based on some of the layoffs and furloughs in the pandemic. So how are you going to go out and recruit the best talent in the Valley? How are you going to maintain and retain the best talent in the Valley? I can't tell you when we send someone to a Cardinals game, or we live and breathe what we do and what we sell. So, having someone come in that office the next day after Devin Booker hits a game winner against the Bucks and watching the smile and them tell that story to their colleagues and to their friends next to them, those are experiences that they can't pay. They can't pay for, and they can't get elsewhere. And you can deliver that to your employees and provide that experience, which is only going to make them work harder and retain that top talent. The last piece is networking. We like to think that we have the most powerful network in all of the Valley with our partners and our members. And we've really taken this time during the pandemic to revamp what our business alliance looks like. On top of the things that we can do with our different products and platforms to drive business and revenue and return for companies, we also want to make meaningful, lasting relationships and introductions. So as businesses come on board, we'll introduce them to a premium service rep. And one of their first calls during that onboarding is, hey, what other businesses are you trying to get in front of? What industries make sense for us to introduce? Do we have some members that are currently here that we can make that introduction, set up a lunch for them, have them and host them in one of our suites during an event so they can continue to drive both of their businesses. So keep a lookout for our brand new website. Our business alliance will host networking events. We're also fortunate to be a partner in Accelerant, which is a business development networking group here in the Valley. And that is all about introducing businesses to businesses that are going to help each other grow. So recently, as you see here on the right, we're starting to highlight more and more of our new members as well as our current existing business partners. So Troy Sneed, one of my premium sales and service representatives here, is highlighting Carter, who just joined us, saying a little bit about his business. And Troy has been reached out to by 3 of our members and has already made lasting, meaningful connections with some of those folks as they look to partner together to help both sides of their businesses. So those are 4 unique ways that we're helping businesses right now. If anyone has any additional questions on how we can help you guys and help your business see some return, retain those top employees, go out and win new business, continue to retain your high-end clients at a higher percentage, let us know. And as I mentioned earlier, our Transformation Center is open for appointments. We also have some hard hat tours in the next couple of weeks. So if you're interested in learning more and also seeing all the changes live and in person, don't hesitate to reach out. I'll be happy to walk you through everything that we have to offer.
All right, well, that is the final part of our presentation. So at this point, we're going to open it up for questions, and we have about 2 minutes.
Thank you, Matt, Chelsea, and Brooke. This was really, really a great presentation. I've been monitoring the chat, and looks like nothing but great and positive comments from everyone. Eric mentions that someone did have a question. They wanted to know what the website was for the virtual tour.
Matt?
Yeah, so I'm going to put my contact information here in the chat. So you can reach out to me and send me an email, and we can find a time to set up a virtual appointment. Or if you want to come down and see us at the Transformation Center, we can book it right through email. So I'll put that in the chat here shortly.
Perfect, thank you. And we'll go ahead and share this information in our post-event email to everyone as well. So we have time for 1 or 2 more questions. Feel free to include them in the chat. We'll have a couple more minutes for that.
Elizabeth, this is Christina. I'll ask a quick question on behalf of everybody. So you guys outlined some great ideas. Matt just talked about how small businesses can use membership to grow their business. Any other ideas or thoughts? I know you guys have this great Hispanic Heritage campaign happening. On other ideas, any of you, Brooke, Chelsea, Matt, for small businesses on how they can engage the Suns and use your marketing platforms to promote themselves, any kind of small business packages or other advertising opportunities that you guys might recommend? I know sometimes small businesses think that maybe working with our sport franchises are beyond their reach, but can you speak to that at all?
Yeah, during Hispanic Heritage Month, we are focusing on uplifting small businesses, of course. So we created a directory, suns.com/Hispanic owned has a registration where you can register your business to get a shout out on social media. Not everybody will be shouted out, but we are taking names on there as well. And the shout out is tomorrow. So that's another way.
Chelsea, do you also want to touch on the Los Suns Small Business MVP that we started last year?
Yep, so we also have the Small Business MVP program that you can nominate your business, tell us why you deserve to win this award, but you get a few promotional items attached to this. So you get recognition on court, you also get an interview with K-Sun on the radio. You get a content piece that's filmed about your business that goes on all of our social channels as well. So another really good way of promoting your business with us. And I can leave the link to that on the chat as well.
Thank you, that's great.
Thank you.
I had a question on the North Lounge, which used to, I believe, be called the Verve Lounge. Is that accessible to general tickets, or do you have to be in a certain area to get to the North Lounge or 1968? Could you go there at halftime, have a drink, or have a snack?
Yeah, so we have a number of new areas that are open to the general public. So some of them are limited to the ticket holders for those areas, but our North Lounge is actually open to the general public. So the bar space will be available to anyone that has a ticket. We'll also feature 2 brand new corner bars where we kind of carved out 2 sections in each corner where it's an open bar concept where you can meet friends, mingle and have a drink before you head to your seats. So a number of areas will be open to the general public no matter where your ticket is. So and then even up on the our 200 level, we'll feature our brand new food court, which will feature some local cuisine and food places to enjoy up that way. So every part of the building is going to be updated, but that was some feedback that we got. Communal spaces where everyone can kind of go and meet up with each other.
And when is the transformation supposed to be done?
So there's two phases. So we're going to get about 60% of the work done by the time we tip off this upcoming season. And then next summer we'll shut down for probably another couple months. And then by the time the 21-22 season rolls around, everything will be completely brand new.
Exciting.
Awesome. Well, I think we're out of time now, but again, we'll share Brooks, Chelsea's, and Matt's contact information in case you have any questions around the team itself. I know we'll be watching the game later on this afternoon. We were just talking about that before we started the webinar, so make sure to tune in and support the NBA as well. But with that, thank you on behalf of the Chamber. I'd like to personally thank you three for helping us put on this presentation. Really great information. I'm still getting a lot of positive feedback in the chat. And thank you for your partnership with the Arizona Hispanic Chamber once again. With that, I'd like to conclude the event and hope everyone has a great rest of your day.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks so much.
Everyone.
Good day.
Thank you, everybody. Great presentation.